Hey everybody, Sick this here to bring you my first ever question and answer video. I asked you guys to ask me whatever questions you want, and you definitely asked me a lot. I got them all right here. I thought about how I was going to do this. I didn't know if I wanted to kind of review the questions first and maybe like write some answers down, or try to see if there's any doubles or anything like that. But I figured, no, I'm just going to print them all out and then kind of just whatever comes into my head, that's how I'm going to answer it. I'm just going to kind of do it off the cuff and just get whatever pops in my head. That's the answer you're getting. So I will try to read all your names. These are all from YouTube, by the way. That's where I get all my questions from all my YouTube viewers. And I'm really bad at pronouncing YouTubers' names. I tend to get them wrong all the time, so I'll probably get a lot of your names wrong. But I'll do my best, and let's get right down to it. The first question comes from IMP3K or IMP3K. They write, would you ever stop collecting VHS? No, probably not. I collect for like 3 reasons. First reason being, there's a lot of great titles that have never been released in DVD or Blu-ray that are only on VHS. I mean, they might be on like Laserdisc or Beta as well, but the easiest way to get them is on VHS. So there's just too many great titles that have never been released that I have to keep collecting them. Yes, in the future, I'm sure we'll probably go to downloading or streaming or some sort of digital format. Obviously, physical media is a dying format, which is a shame, but let's not get me started on that because that's a whole other issue. But I will always want to have a physical copy, even if in the future I'm forced to go to streaming or downloading, which on the plus side about streaming and downloading, everything's going to be available. The most little obscure title that has been released that like 3 people have heard of will probably be available for purchase, because these companies, all they have to do is upload a... just upload a video onto the server, which costs them nothing or at least very little to do, and you pay them top dollar for it, and there you go, they make a bunch of money off it. So yeah, when that happens, again, I think everything ever released for the most part will be available for purchase. But I want a physical copy. I don't want a digital copy. I don't want a streaming copy. Again, I'm not going to get into why. I just think streaming and downloading is a horrible idea, and it's going to screw a lot of people over in the end. So I want to have a physical copy, so for that, I will always continue to collect VHS. Another reason why I collect VHS is for great artwork. DVDs and Blu-rays have some pretty shoddy artwork, but some VHS artwork is extremely beautiful. Like great early 90s and 80s artwork is fantastic, and I have tons of VHS in my collection simply for the artwork. Like titles that I own on DVD or Blu-ray, but I want to have the VHS because it has great artwork. And another reason why I buy VHS is because sometimes stuff's a blind buy. Like I'll go to Goodwill and I'll look at a title for 10 cents or a quarter or something like that on VHS and go, this looks interesting, and I'll pick it up. It only costs me again a quarter or a dime or something like that, and I'll watch it, and if I like it, yeah, eventually if it's out on VHS or DVD, I'll replace it at some point in time. But it's great. It's a great way to cheaply watch something for a first time. Something that's a blind buy that you've never seen that you're just maybe interested in. And it's also a good place saver too, because sometimes I really want to get a movie. Like there'll be a movie that I'm really dying to get on DVD or Blu-ray, and maybe it's expensive. I just haven't come across it for cheap. Maybe I'm having a harder time finding it. I'll come across it for really cheap on VHS. I'll pick it up. Yeah, obviously I'd rather have it on Blu-ray or DVD, and eventually I will replace it, but for the time being, I at least have a copy of it that I can watch. So for those reasons, I don't see myself ever not collecting VHS, and even if it gets to the point where, like 50 years from now, VHS tapes just aren't even working anymore, because they don't last all that long. They deteriorate pretty quickly. So if they're not even working, I will at least get them for the artwork, and just to kind of say, hey, even though it's not working, at least have a physical copy. So yeah, I don't see myself ever not collecting VHS tapes. Brad Tragic writes, maybe too personal, but what kind of job do you have to be able to buy stuff every single day? I know you mentioned photography a bunch of times, but yeah. Well, yes, I am a photographer, but that's just kind of a side thing. I went to college for photography. I would love for it to be my full-time business, but it just hasn't gotten there yet. I do make a decent amount of money off it, just not full-time. When I'm not doing that, I work in a mailroom, and I really don't make much at all. It's an okay job. I have enough to, split a mortgage with my wife, but it's not a super high-paying job. I shop really cheaply. I am a bargain hunter. I barely ever paid more than $5 for a single title, and when it comes to like a season or maybe like a set or something like that, I don't really ever pay more than $10 for those. So I'm a really thrifty shopper. A lot of times when I'm showing you something, I've only paid like $1 or something for it. I mean, maybe like basically 5 or less is what I paid. All my VHS tapes that I pick up, those usually between like 50 cents and 10 cents. I'm a bargain shopper. I get stuff for really cheap. If you want to get something for really, really cheap, there's always a way to do it. I shop everywhere as well. If there's a place that sells movies, I will go there usually at least weekly. So I'm constantly going to all these places looking for movies. I come across great deals all the time. Movies that I never thought I would find for cheap, you know, I eventually find for cheap because I'm actively looking for them constantly. 95% of my life is, well, I should say 95, probably 75% of my life is like movie based. I'm either watching movies, researching where to buy movies, or actually out buying movies. I'm obsessed. I mean, maybe a little sad, maybe, you know, a therapist would have a field day with me, but I am just obsessed with movies, and I spend so much time, you know, actively hunting for them that I just come across a lot of great deals, and I just find movies for dirt cheap. And that's why you see me buying, you know, movies every single day, is because I'm not really spending all that much. I mean, yeah, in the long run, I guess they kind of add up to a lot, but, you know, it's not like I'm spending $20 a day or something like that. I'm spending like maybe $5 or less a day. That's it. So it's not that I need a high-paying job to buy all this. You just got to know how to hunt. That guy Gus writes, do your tattoos have a backstory to them, or did you just get them because they look cool on you? Basically because they look cool on me. I just basically would go, hey, that looks really neat, or, you know, I really want to get one of these tattoos. You know, maybe I'd want to get, like, you know, my lighthouse here. I really wanted a lighthouse on me. I got it because I just thought lighthouses were cool. I want to get a lighthouse on me. The only tattoo I have on me that actually, like, has any meaning to it, I have a big chest piece. My entire chest is all tattooed up. In fact, my arms come all the way up onto my chest, and that comes up onto my shoulder blades. I mean, they're all connected. I have my legs done as well. Not fully, just half. So my chest piece, it's part of it has a banner going across it, and it says traditional. And that's kind of my tattoo name. When I first started getting tattooed, I started getting tattooed by a girl named Megan Massacre, who you guys might know. If you watch the show New York Inc., she's on there. We're good friends. She was at my wedding. I started getting tattooed by her right when she first started tattooing. She actually tattooed in the next town over from me. That's where she first started tattooing, and I started to go to her. And her and the owner of the store, they just started to call me traditional, because I would come in and get a lot of, like, old school Sailor Jerry, like, Americana traditional pieces. And they just started calling me traditional, and they eventually shortened to Tradish. Even today, when I talk to Megan, she knows my name's David, but she still calls me, you know, she's like, hey, Tradish, what's up? She just always calls me Tradish. She never calls me Dave. So I thought, you know, it'd be really cool to get have a banner going across, you know, going across the tattoo that said traditional, just to kind of, you know, show, you know, just to kind of be like, hey, that's my cool tattoo name. That's a name everybody knows me from. All the different shops that Megan has ever tattooed at. I mean, she's tattooed at a lot of different shops. Everybody from those shops, they know me as traditional as well, because she introduces me that way. So it's just all the shops in the area, that's how I'm known as, and I just thought it'd be really cool to have that as a tattoo. Glenn7000 writes, what is the best Batman movie of all time? That would definitely be Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. That is not only one of my all-time favorite movies, but it is my all-time favorite animated movie. Love that film. I just got it on Blu-ray, actually. I'm really looking forward to watching that. As soon as the Christmas season's over, I will be watching that movie on Blu-ray. I can't wait to see what it looks like in HD. And it's such a fantastic movie. But if you maybe meant just live-action movies, I would definitely say the original Michael Keaton Batman, as far as live-action movies. But as far as all Batman movies go, definitely Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. They also write, what is the greatest Christmas movie ever made? That'd be Christmas Story. Love that. Doesn't get better than that. Could Arnold be good in another Terminator movie? Yeah, I guess so. I don't see why not. I mean, I've seen pictures of him recently. He looks pretty flabby. I guess if he, you know, bulked up and hit the gym a bit, I think he could probably pull it off. I would be interested in seeing that if they did another Terminator movie with Schwarzenegger in it. That'd be pretty cool. And would you get any Cabin Fever releases of Little Rascals? I don't even know what that is. Cabin Fever releases of Little Rascals. I don't know. I don't really watch Little Rascals. I never really got into the show. I've seen some episodes. I have the Little Rascal movie, but as far as the show goes, never got into it. Never watched it. So I don't really know what the Cabin Fever releases of Little Rascals are. But I'm not into the show. So no, I wouldn't buy them. I believe it's pronounced Shumi1991. They wrote me a couple questions as well. They wrote, What was the first DVD, VHS you ever bought / got? So what started your collection? I don't really remember the first ones I bought, because I bought a bunch at one time. I know I got all the Quentin Tarantino movies that were out at the time, and all the Tim Burton movies that were out at the time. I know I picked up all those at one time, and I think I grabbed some other stuff like Wizard of Oz, and I think I picked up like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, just some classics like that. I know I got those, but I bought like 20 movies at all at one time when I first ever bought some DVDs. As far as VHS goes, I don't know. Maybe like Nirvana Live Tonight sold out. I remember owning that back in like middle school. So maybe that was one of the first VHS tapes I ever got. So what started my collection? Back in high school and to the very beginning of college, I actually collected Pez dispensers. I had thousands of them. Basically what you see behind me, I had like the equivalent of my DVDs in Pez. I had tons of them. I had a huge collection. Unfortunately, Pez collecting got really big in the like late 90s, early 2000s. And everybody started to collect, and the Pez company caught on to that, and they started marketing all kinds of stuff like hats and t-shirts and magnets and stuffed animals and weird kind of like there's giant dispensers that dispense full packs of candy and just really weird stuff. And they stopped really producing many of the regular dispensers. We'd only get a couple every few months, whereas normally we would get like a bunch of sets like every like month and stuff. We'd get like 3 or 4 sets a month. It was great. We were getting tons of them, and it was a lot of fun to collect them. But it just, when they started putting out more licensed stuff than they were actually putting out dispensers, it really killed the hobby for me. And I'm just, I just got really sick of it. I wanted to collect dispensers. I loved the dispensers. I thought they were so cool looking. And, I was tired of buying hats and crap like that. I didn't want it. So it killed the collecting off for me, and I stopped collecting. I sold my entire collection off to a bunch of other different Pez collectors. I ended up getting a few $1,000s for my collection. I mean, that's how big my collection was, and I had a lot of good pieces in it, too. I ended up getting a few $1,000s for it, and from there I decided to buy a DVD player, because I didn't have a DVD player yet, and I figured I want one just to have one, no collecting in mind, just thought I'd get a DVD player. And then I needed some DVDs for it, obviously, so like I said, went out and bought all the Quentin Tarantino movies, all the Tim Burton movies, because they're my favorite directors, love them, and, a few other movies as well, just bought a nice little stack with some of the money I had. And from there, I just became obsessed. It was basically the day I stopped collecting Pez, I started collecting movies. I bought, I was like, oh, well, that movie's cool, and that one's cool, and that one's cool, and I just started buying more and more and more, and before I knew it, I had a nice little collection of DVDs. So, from one collection, right into the other. They also write, do you have a favorite genre, or do you just like everything that is good? My favorite genre is definitely horror. I'd say out of all the genres, horror is my favorite. But, like you said, or do you like everything that is just good? Yes. I don't care if it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre or if it's the Care Bears. If I like it, I like it. It could be everything from a blood-soaked slasher movie that's just ridiculously gory to a movie meant for little children, that maybe is really nostalgic for me. It doesn't matter if it's good, it's good. And last question, do you think you'll ever stop collecting? I don't know. I've been collecting for going on, this year will be 12 years of collecting, so I want to say no. I don't think I ever will. Even, if we get into streaming and downloading, and I'm forced to stream and download, I'll probably do that because I'll be forced to, but I'll still buy DVDs and Blu-rays and other, obscure formats when I come across it just for collecting purposes. I'll still buy them. I love collecting. I don't see myself ever not collecting, and as of right now, I think I'll always be collecting. Golfman writes, what movie blew you away in terms of visual quality, setting, establishment, shots, environment, that kind of stuff? Definitely movies on Blu-ray. I guess Avatar was the first movie that really blew me away, because I bought my HD TV right when Avatar first came out, and it was one of the first Blu-rays I bought, and I think it's actually the first Blu-ray I watched on my player on my new HD TV, and it really did blow me away. I couldn't believe how great it looked. The Ant Bully, of all the CGI movies, the Ant Bully looks really good. Check that out. If you have that one, check it out. If you don't have it, get it on Blu-ray. It looks fantastic. The picture quality is amazing on that. Also, maybe the Speed Racer movie. That movie's just all about color, so it looked really good in Blu-ray. So those kind of blew me away in like visual quality, I guess. Now they also write, what movie you say the last 5 years will become a movie that will have a long-lasting legacy, like Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, or some movie that you believe will be watched for years to come as an instant classic? Wow, I don't know, just tons of them. But as far as like maybe a series goes, I know this is beyond the last 5 years. So maybe like Pirates of the Caribbean. I think Pirates of the Caribbean, that series will probably be like my kids' Indiana Jones or something like that, maybe, or you know, movies like my younger cousins. You know, they might look at the Pirates of the Caribbean movies like I looked at the Indiana Jones, because when I was a kid, Indiana Jones was huge. You know, that's what I grew up with. Whereas they grew up with stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean. And, well, I mean, there's Harry Potter as well. I mean, I think the Harry Potter movies, those will obviously live on. Those are going to be huge. And, of course, stuff like Lord of the Rings, things like that. I mean, again, I know I'm going over 5 years, but, you know, stuff like that, definitely. And they also write, what is your favorite canon film? That would have to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I love that movie. One of my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. I mean, it's a great mixture of just cheeseball 80s horror and great, like, comedy. It's definitely a satire movie. It's a great comedy movie, but mixed with a lot of great, just awesome horror. And Dennis Hopper fighting Leatherface, you know, a chainsaw battle. That's probably one of the coolest movie moments ever in just the history of movies. So, definitely Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This is a pretty cool name here. Oi Oxymoron writes, have you ever heard of the Philips V2000, an obscure video format from the late 70s, early 80s? No, but I'll have to look it up now. Would you ever consider seeking out rare video formats like CED, Super 8 film, 7-inch Laserdisc, etc.? Yes, I already do have some CEDs. I have stuff like Laserdiscs, UMD, Video 8 movies, stuff like that. I really like having different formats, and I would like to have some Super 8 film eventually. You know, I'll keep collecting different formats as I come across them. I have some. I just recently bought some HD DVDs. You know, just to have them basically, because I want to collect all the weird obscure formats. And how about movies with different region codes? Yes, I have a few of those that I got in a tray with some people from overseas. Unfortunately, I don't have a region-free player, so I can't watch them yet. But there's a lot of great stuff that hasn't been released here in the States, so I am definitely interested in movies with different regions. And do you have a collection of movie T-shirts? If so, show them off. No, I don't have a collection. I do have some movie-related T-shirts, but it's not really a collection. I just happen to have some. Impossible956 writes, when do you think you will finally say, wow, I grew my collection, I'm proud of it. From now on, I will not buy that many titles. Probably when I have a kid in the next few years. When I have a kid, I probably won't have much money. I probably will be spending all my money on a child. So the wife and I have been talking, you know, a little bit here and there about having a kid. It probably will happen in the next few years. And when that happens, I'm not going to stop collecting, but I won't be collecting as much because I won't be able to afford it. Which is probably okay, because I do buy faster than I can possibly watch. So at least when I have a kid, if I have the time, of course, because, I mean, I'm sure I won't have much time having a kid, but hopefully I'll at least have time to watch more movies, you know, than I buy. So I'd say in the next few years I'll probably slow down a bit, but, you know, once the kid grows up, once I get some more money, you know, once the money starts coming in again, I will keep buying as I'm buying now. Nitty Nut writes, sorry if someone has already asked you this, but do you have any interest in working in the film industry? If so, in what role and why? If not, where does your love for film come from? I don't really have an interest in it. I mean, I can't say I'd be against it, but I don't really have an interest in acting necessarily. I did do a little short film for the Philadelphia 24-hour film fest, or 48-hour film festival years ago. It was called Just Friends. You can see it on my YouTube channel. It's like, I think it's the first video I uploaded. That was fun to do. I had a blast doing it, but I'm not really trying to pursue acting or anything. My wife always says that I should be an actor because I'm always making goofy faces and making weird voices, and I'm really good at, like, I like to tell stories all the time. I like to just tell people the most ridiculous thing and say it with an extremely straight face and be 100% serious about what I'm saying, even though what I'm saying is ridiculous. In fact, I have a little story. I dated this girl for like 5 years, years ago, before my wife, and down at my family has a beach house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and down there they have these trees up, and on the bottom of the trees are little plaques, and basically what it is when somebody dies, you can buy a little plaque and they'll plant a tree kind of in their memory, sort of thing. They're in rows along the main drive. And I had her believing that those were tombstones because she asked me what they were, and I said they were tombstones, and she didn't believe me. So I told her, no, they are tombstones. There's people buried under there, and it's kind of like a nature thing where the tree's supposed to like feed off the body. It's some hippie thing, you know. And I just played it really straight. I mean, this girl was in, you know, I mean, she was genius. She scored like perfect scores on SATs. She's not stupid by any means. She's a genius of a girl. I think she's now an accountant and everything like that. So I had her believing that there were dead people buried under these trees. It wasn't until like right before we broke up that I even told her that, hey, you know, for the past 5 years, I had you believing something that is totally untrue. So it's stuff like that. I love to do that. So my wife says I should always act, but I don't have any, I really don't have any necessarily interest in it, so that probably won't happen. But they wrote, again, if not, where does your love for film come from? My love for film came from when I first started collecting. I started to, you know, buy a bunch of movies, and from there, I got into movies that I never really watched before. Like, for instance, I never had any interest in, like, fantasy or sci-fi. I wasn't like into it. I never really saw Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. It just wasn't my thing. Then a few years into my collecting, I saw those movies. My taste in movies started to open up a bit, and I really got into, you know, a lot of genres and a lot of movies that I just wasn't into before. And from there, it became, you know, where I was really picky about what movies I was buying, where I was just buying everything and getting all kinds of new genres and all kinds of new movies and just experiencing all sorts of new stuff. And since I was like opening my mind to all these great movies and great genres, I just really started to get into lots of different types of movies, and my love for film just exploded, and my collection exploded as well. And just from there, I just got really into cinema, and it just kind of became my life. And all I do now is just, you know, watch movies, buy movies, talk about movies, look up movies. It's always just movies, movies, movies. Basically, it drives my wife insane, but that's where my love came from. That guy 11011 writes, do you watch your VHS and Laserdisc on your HD TV, or do you watch them on a standard definition TV? My Laserdisc I watch on my standard definition TV because I plugged it up to my HD TV and it looked really, really bad. VHS, both. I have a VHS player hooked up to my standard TV, and I prefer to watch them on there because it looks obviously a lot better. But I do have a VHS player plugged into my HD TV, and it doesn't look horrible. It looks okay. And sometimes, you know, if I don't really feel like, because the standard definition TV is in the bedroom, HD TV is in the living room, so if I don't really feel like hanging out in the bedroom, I'll just watch the VHS on the HD TV. It doesn't look bad. It's not, you know, it's not great. It definitely, you know, again, definitely looks better on the standard definition, but, you know, it's bearable. It's not like, it's not as bad as the Laserdisc looked on the HD TV. That looked really bad. But, you know, it looks okay, so I watch VHS on both, but Laserdisc definitely on standard. Coca-Cola Girl 59 rates, this isn't a question, but more of a comment. I like when you call your wife the wife. LOL, hope that isn't weird. Well, again, that isn't really a question, you're right. But, I don't know, I just always kind of call it that. For some reason, I'm always just saying the wife. You know, if I'm talking to my friends, I won't necessarily say Brittany, that's my wife's name. I'll just call her the wife. I've just always done it. I don't know why. The Ricket 80 writes, okay, here's a question. How many DVDs in total and how many VHS in total? I have no idea. When I first started collecting, I used to keep track of how many, you know, DVDs, VHS, Blu-ray, set that I owned, but I stopped doing that, so I honestly can't answer that. I have no idea. Sorry. Movie Collector 16 writes, can you show us your head without a hat? There it is. That's my head. I just go with the shave look. It's free. I do it myself. Every couple weeks, I just take the buzzers and shave my head. The reason why I always wear my hat is because... I'll keep it off. The reason why I always wear my hat is because I think I look better with my hat on, and also... sometimes I go a little bit... I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cutting my hair. So sometimes I'll go like a month without cutting my hair, and, you know, I'll start to get like a cowlick, and my hair will be all kind of crazy and look ridiculous. And put the hat on, well, you can't see my hair anymore. So I'm always wearing my hat. Every time I go out, I wear my hat. I actually have a stockpile of these. Every time I come across, like, because I like the style of hat, and every time I come across like a bunch of them that I really like for cheap, I'll like stockpile them up so I have some to replace, you know. In fact, I really need to replace this one. It's getting pretty ratty. I should definitely replace it. But I love my hat. I just wear it all the time, basically, just so I don't show off my hair, because it's usually looking pretty bad. Except for like I said, I just recently cut it like a day ago. So there you go. That's me without a hat on. Movies on a Budget writes, who else's videos do you watch on YouTube? I watch a lot of people's videos, but I guess the ones I watch mainly, you can if you look at my YouTube channel, I have Unbox, people like Movernoscopy and Nerdgirl 20, stuff like that. I mean, I kind of watch them the most. Basically, the ones I watch the most are kind of the people that I saw first when I first got on YouTube. You know, there's some more people I'm getting into, but it's basically the people that I saw first that, for whatever reason, I just kind of stuck with them. Obviously, I watch the bigger people like, you know, Angry Video Game Nerd, that guy with the glasses, stuff like that. But I watch them on their own channels, not YouTube channels. Who inspires you to do these videos? I don't know if I really say I was inspired per se. I basically just got on YouTube because I wanted to upload a video. I was basically using it as an excuse to upload a video that I wanted to show some of my friends. That's it. It was just an video uploader for me. And then for whatever reason, I decided to do my first bought and watch video, and then I just started doing them every day. And I don't know why I started doing them. I honestly don't know what the reason for that was. I just did one and then decided to do another one and kind of kept going with it. And I never really expected anybody to watch them. I figured I'd probably stop doing them pretty quickly. But then I started getting more and more viewers, and I just kind of stuck with it. And now, you know, my life's become cinema sickness, and I'm just, everything I'm doing is revolving around cinema sickness now. And I don't know, it's just working out for me. I really can't say anybody necessarily inspired me per se. I just started doing it just on a whim. Recorpse1 writes, how long have you been collecting films? I've been collecting since 2001. What made you follow this hobby? Again, I just sort of got into it by accident because I bought a bunch of DVDs and then started buying more and more and more and then became obsessed. Does your partner also enjoy film collecting? No, my wife doesn't really enjoy film collecting. She thinks I'm nuts and that I have a problem. She does have a decent well, I shouldn't say decent collection. It's an okay collection. It's bigger than most people's collection of movies, which she even said the only reason she has those movies is because she's with me all the time, and, you know, I'll go into a store and she'll come across a movie she's actually been kind of interested in, and she'll come across it for really cheap, and she'll buy it. And I tend to buy her some movies too every now and then. So no, she's really not into film collecting. Again, she thinks I'm nuts, but at least we do enjoy watching films together. Brandon Loves Sports writes a few things. First name, really, bro, I've never heard you say it. My name is David. My name is David Kyle Eisenhower, like the president. That is my full name. Favorite food? Pizza, definitely. Pizza's awesome. When you're doing your Let's Go Shopping videos, if people ask why you're filming, do you tell them about your channel? Yes. I get asked that a lot when I'm filming at places like, you know, in a store or at like a yard sale, flea market stuff. People are like, you know, why are you filming? That's why I tell them I do videos, and usually, you know, I used to direct them to YouTube, now I'll be directing them to cinemasickness.com. So yes, I do usually tell people because people, they tend to think I'm like a terrorist or something. You know, I'm the next Osama bin Laden because I'm videotaping their DVDs. People are insane. Do you tell people you just met that you're a movie collector or not mention it? I do tell them. My wife always gives me a hard time because when I meet people for the first time, like if we go out somewhere and hang out, I meet like, you know, one of her girlfriends or one of her girlfriends, like boyfriends, something like that. The conversation always ends up being about movies. I just somehow, I don't care what we're talking about, I'll always redirect it to movies. I do it by accident. I'll just start throwing out quotes, you know, something. I can, you know, every time somebody says something, immediately in my head is a quote. I just think of a quote. So, yeah, somehow my conversations always end up going into movies, and then eventually it comes out that I collect movies. King Hollins writes, what's the best bad movie you've ever seen, and what is the worst movie you've ever seen? That's a tough one to say. Best bad movie. Some people see, I want to maybe say like Spice World, because I absolutely love that movie. I'm a huge fan of the movie Spice World. But, I don't know if I really say that movie's bad, because the movie's a joke. It's not meant to be taken seriously. If anybody watches that movie and says it's bad, you're taking it too seriously. The movie's just one big joke. I love how the Spice Girls just keep ragging on themselves the whole time. They're just goofing on themselves, and I think that movie's just fantastic. So maybe that movie, but I don't know, because like I said, I really don't call it I really wouldn't consider it a bad movie. But there's like tons of great horror movies out there that are just really cheesy, really bad, really over the top. A lot of great canon films like Masters of the Universe and yeah, you know, things like Cyborg and stuff like that. Great movies, really cheesy, but they're a lot of fun. I really do love them. And what is the worst movie you have seen? Wow, I should probably know that. I tend to just block those movies out of my head. I see a really bad movie and then I just forget I ever watched it because it was so bad. I just recently watched Theodore Rex with Whoopi Goldberg. That was pretty bad. That was really bad. You know, there's many sequels out there that are just really bad to movies, and many prequels that are just horrible. Really too many to name, but again, I just kind of block them out of my head anyway, so let's not mention them. Movie Demon writes, if you were a studio boss for a day, what film or film series would you most want to see sequelized? I would definitely want to see... I have to say, I would definitely want to see the sequels, the 2 sequels that are supposed to come out for Rock and Rolla, because I love that movie. I love Guy Ritchie. I love Guy Ritchie's gangster films. I think they are fantastic. You know, Snatch, Lock, Stock, Rock and Rolla, Revolver. Those are great, great movies. And Rock and Rolla was supposed to have 2 more sequels. It was supposed to be a 3-parter. And the movie did pretty bad in theaters, which is a shame because it's really good. So we'll probably never see those sequels. So I would definitely get Guy Ritchie to put those out. And also I'd say I would love to see the sequel to Master and Commander Far Side of the World. I love that movie. And when it pisses me off because the movie doesn't just leave it open for a sequel, the movie stops. The movie, you're watching this, I mean, how long is the movie? The movie's like 2.5 hours or 3 hours. It's a long movie. And it gets up to the, you know, towards the end, and they're going to go after this ship, and the movie just stops, basically. You're just like, okay, here's, you know, the rest, there's another part of the story that they're supposed to be getting into, but the movie also did pretty bad, and they never released a sequel, which really sucks. It is a good movie. I love that movie, and we'll probably never see a sequel to it, so that'd be another one. DVD collector Daniel 91 writes, what's your favorite part in the movie Saul? Probably the end when Jigsaw gets up and walks out. You know, you think he's dead and he walks out. That's pretty cool. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Again, that's Christmas Story. What's your favorite movie of all time? That would definitely be Young Frankenstein. I love the classic Universal horror movies, especially Frankenstein. The Frankenstein movies are awesome. I love the entire series. And I also love Mel Brooks. You put them together, you just get a fantastic movie. I can watch that movie every day until the day I die. I would never get tired of it. It's brilliant. Love it. How many 2011 DVDs do you own? I have no idea. And if you could be any actor in the world for just 1 year, who would it be? I don't know. Is Mila Kunis dating any actors? If she is, him. HFD Whalers 97 writes, for your photography, what cameras do you shoot with? I shoot with a N70 and a D70. The N70's film, which I don't really shoot with anymore. I haven't shot with that since college, like 10 years ago. Mainly I shoot with my D70, which is my digital camera. I mean, film's pretty much dead. It's so expensive to even shoot with film anymore. You know, it's a nice format. I don't have anything wrong with film, but I can't afford it. My prices would have to be through the roof if I wanted to shoot with film. So I just shoot digital on my D70. Love the camera. I'm a big Nikon fan. What's the longest you've gone searching for a DVD before finally getting into your collection? Oh wow, I have no idea. There's still movies I'm looking for. Definitely, I mean, a lot of them even on DVDs. A lot of them are VHS too, like Legend of Billie Jean, stuff like that. Cool as Ice on VHS. Really want to get those. I'm really not sure the longest I've been looking. Probably since I started collecting and back in 2001. There's still some titles from back then that I still haven't found. So I guess the longest, maybe 11 years. And this name I have no idea how to pronounce. The Tanimchudhury, I don't know. Tanimchudhury. They write, what are your favorite directors? That would definitely be Quentin Tarantino and Tim Burton. I also like Guy Ritchie, but I really like his gangster movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really did like Sherlock Holmes. Well, that was a great movie, but definitely his gangster movies are just fantastic. They're some of my favorite movies, so those 3. What is your favorite movie series? Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, I really like stuff like the Indiana Jones, the Back to the Futures, Ninja Turtles, you know, all the classics like that, Star Wars, stuff like that. So my favorite, I'm really not sure. I really don't know what my favorite would be, but I just love all the classics. And how long have you been collecting? That's since 2001. Final Fantasy X-Fan 131 writes, favorite film in your collection? That would definitely be, as far as for the film itself goes, Young Frankenstein. Maybe just as far as for collecting series go, or just collecting purposes goes, I really like my Coffin Joe box set. That's awesome. My Disney Treasures are really cool. I got some, you know, VHS tapes that are, you know, a little bit more rare. Those are great. They also write, what is your favorite book series? I don't read books, so none. And Twilight or Harry Potter? Really, Harry Potter. I mean, I don't have anything wrong with Twilight. I'm one of the few men out there who actually think the Twilight series is okay. That's the thing. I think the Twilight series is okay. It's mediocre. It's just an alright series. It's nothing special. Whereas Harry Potter just kicks ass. Yax Rob writes, do you ever watch/own any game films like Halo Legends? I haven't seen Halo Legends. I do hear that's a good movie, so I am interested in seeing that. But yeah, I have. You know, I mean, I guess you mean live action ones, maybe. Resident Evil, the Street Fighter movies. What else? I love stuff like the Super Mario Brothers movies, even the Super Mario Brothers TV shows. So yeah, I got Silent Hill, stuff like that. I do have a lot of video game related movies. And as far as Halo goes, I've never actually played Halo. I'm not really a video gamer. I'm not into video games. I have nothing wrong with video games. Video games are great. I do enjoy playing them when I do play them, but they're not really my thing. So like I said, I've never played Halo. I've never even played an Xbox before. But I do really like the Red vs. Blue series. I have the entire series on DVD. It is hilarious. Even though I know nothing about Halo, I can still really get into it. It's a great series. Ignore the Fashion writes, I've always wanted to hear about your tattoos. When you got your first one, what are they of/mean? Also, who's your favorite bands? As far as my tattoos go, I guess maybe like 9 years ago or something like that. Maybe 9, 8 years ago. I had been thinking about getting tattoos for a few years. And my friend and I were hanging out. We had nothing to do. We were bored. Do we want to go see a movie? Do we want to go to the mall? What do we want to do? I jokingly said, let's go get tattooed, because we were both talking about getting tattooed. And he said, okay. Next thing I know, he's calling up a tattoo parlor, and I'm being drugged into the tattoo parlor to get a tattoo. I was really nervous about going because I thought it was going to hurt like hell. I just thought, this is going to be... I really want to get one, but I thought it was just going to be so incredibly painful. I didn't want to do it. Which, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, go for it. As long as you don't get it in a really painful spot, obviously, it's not that bad, because your adrenaline's going to kick up so much, you're really not going to feel it. It's actually once you've been getting tattooed for a while that it starts to hurt more, because, for me, I've been getting tattooed for years now. I'm used to it. My adrenaline isn't kicking anymore. I just kind of sit there and just take the pain now. My adrenaline just doesn't kick in anymore because it knows what's coming. So, yeah, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, maybe you're nervous, just get one. It's not, especially your first one, it's really not going to hurt that much. So, again, I just jokingly said, let's go. He drugged me in there. I got a tattoo. The first one I got was, if you can see here, it was this, the heart with the crossbone, just that. I got that, and then I just started getting more and more and more and more, and before I know it, I was pretty much covered. I was addicted. As far as what they mean, none of them really mean anything. I just got a bunch that I really like. Just, this arm here, I just sort of, I didn't really plan this one out. I just sort of got a bunch of different pieces on it. That arm I didn't plan at all. Whereas this one, I actually planned out my arm. I picked out the different pieces and how they would fit and, look with each other and stuff like that. And, again, the only one that really means anything is my chest that says traditional. That's the only meaning I have behind any tattoos. And who's my favorite band? Maybe like One Man Army. I think they're really good. But things like The Clash, Dead Kennedys, stuff like that. I love those bands. I'm really into ska as well. Bands like Mustard Plug and Planet Smasher, stuff like that. RMC25 writes, would you sell your entire collection for $250,000? No. Delga105 writes, what would you consider the holy grail of your collection, both something that you finally did obtain and something that is still eluding you? I guess my Disney treasures, I always talk about them being like my favorite thing in my collection. Probably because they took me so long to collect. I was foolish, and when they first started coming out, I, for whatever reason, didn't buy them. And probably by I guess around like the third or the third to last set they released, because they're releasing them in like waves. So like the third to last wave, I started collecting them, and I had already missed like I don't know, like 5 different waves, and they're very limited. They once they're gone, they're gone. They're hard to come by. So I was kicking myself for not collecting them right away, and they were very hard to get. I can only find them for really expensive online, and I really wanted to get all the animated ones. I mean, I'm not really into like the I don't really need the Mickey Mouse Club ones, stuff like that, but I really want to get all the ones, like all the Mickey Mouse ones, the Donald ones, Goofy ones, so on and so forth, all the great animated treasure sets that were released. And it was really hard to do. Just a couple years, maybe like 2 years ago, I finally got the last one I needed. I needed Mickey Mouse in Black and White Volume 1, which was going for a lot. I actually, my mom actually was nice enough to buy it off eBay for me, and she paid a little bit for it. So that was it. That was eluding me for a while. I really wanted to get that, really wanted to clean that set, and I finally did. So that's probably the holy grail. I always joke and say, if there's to my wife, if there's a fire, grab the treasures. I did just recently get from a viewer on YouTube They gave me the Coffin Joe box set. I love that. I mean, it's right there. Love that box set. It's awesome. So that's pretty cool too. As far as what's still eluding me, you know, there's a lot of VHS tapes, like I said, like Legend of Billie Jean, Cool as Ice. You know, there's a lot of great titles on VHS I really want to get. As far as DVD, I don't know if there's really anything on DVD that, like, I'm dying to have. I mean, I'm sure there is. I just can't think of anything on top of my head. Yeah, there's got to be something, but there's a lot of VHS tapes I'm really looking for. The Clay Singer writes, who is your favorite YouTuber to watch? Again, if you look on my YouTube channel, everybody I boxed, I love watching them. Obviously, people like the Angry Video Game Nerd again, and that guy with the glasses, and the Cinema Snob, you know, Angry Joe, Spoonie, people like that I love watching. Although I don't really watch them on YouTube. I watch them on their their own web pages. But as far as, like, you know, YouTubers go, like, you know, like people like me, like the smaller people on YouTube, again, like Movernoscopy and NerdGirl20 and stuff like that. But, you know, basically, again, everybody I boxed, I watch a lot, and there's a few others that I watch too. So that's basically about it. Mackenzie Hart's JB writes, well, they actually wrote a few things. Have you ever heard of a movie called Magic in the Mirror? It's only available on VHS. I remember it from my childhood, but can't seem to find it anywhere. No, I do not remember that. Would you ever become a vegetarian? No, I don't really like fruits, and I really don't like vegetables either. I mean, I can tolerate vegetables, sort of, but I absolutely hate fruit. I don't like fruit. I pretty much live off of sugar, and I mean, you can see my double chin and my face is getting all fat. A few years ago, I was actually pretty skinny. Now I'm starting to get some weight on me, which sucks. But I pretty much live off of sugar and red meat, so I can never become a vegetarian. But that being said, I do think what we need to do, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there who are very against, you know, cruelty to animals and stuff, and I completely agree. I love animals. I'm a big fan of animals. I think they're just so cute, and, you know, every time I see a cow, even though I'm thinking, boy, that'd be a delicious hamburger, I'm petting it and stuff. I love animals. And so what I think we need is less cruelty. Like, I see videos all the time about how, you know, animals in slaughterhouses are treated and the way they're kept, you know. And even though these animals are simply being bred for food, they should still live a good life up to their death, you know, in a pasture, you know, having a good time, and then their death should be really quick, very humane, you know, as little pain as possible, you know, or just really, really quickly. You know, just, you know, when they're roping them and, you know, dragging them into the slaughterhouse and stuff, it's cruel. I hate that stuff. So, although I have nothing wrong with people who eat meat, I eat meat, I love meat, I will never stop eating meat. I don't have anything wrong with the human race eating meat. I think, you know, that we should eat meat. I do strongly believe that something needs to be done. The government needs to step in and make, you know, all these slaughterhouses and all these chicken farms and stuff a lot more humane. Stop pumping them full of chemicals. You know, we don't need turkeys that can't even walk. You know, that's ridiculous. We don't need that. Just, you know, try to keep everything natural, you know, and try to make life as good for the animals that we're about to eat as possible. So, no, I would never be a vegetarian, though. Do you like watching other people's film collections on YouTube? Yeah, I do. I love when people post stuff about their film collections. You know, if I come across somebody's film collection, I watch that video. I love it. Would you consider making a video introducing us to your wife, like the wife tag or something, LOL? I would love to, but she hates being on camera. She doesn't... I always talk to her. I'm like, why don't you come in my film? And she never wants to do it. So every now and then, when I'm shooting a Let's Go Shopping video and she's with me, I try to kind of pan past her a lot to try to get her in the videos. So probably won't see her much this winter. But once like spring comes along and next summer, when I'm out doing some more Let's Go Shopping videos, like out at flea markets and stuff like that, where she comes along with, I'll try to get her on camera some more for you guys to see her. Favorite Harry Potter character? I don't know. Wow. I do not... I'd have to really think about that one. Who my favorite Harry Potter character is. I honestly would have to think about that question. I mean, Harry's pretty cool, obviously. Hermione's looking pretty hot these days. But my favorite... I just don't know. Again, I'd really have to think about that question. I'd have to research that one. I'd have to start looking in, like, online at all the different Harry Potter characters and really think about who'd be my favorite. But I love this series. They're all great. And name any movies that had made you cry. Off the top of my head, I'm not really sure, but honestly, what makes me cry in a movie, I mean, I'll admit, I tear up at movies sometimes, and what really gets me is when people do kind things. Like, I don't care if it's a really sad ending, you know, Old Yeller when they shoot the dog and stuff like that. Yeah, that sucks. You know, I love dogs, but, you know, I don't cry at that. It's when somebody does something nice, like when like a community gets together and helps somebody out, or one guy's helping another guy or something. You know, just when people are being really overly kind, that gets me for some reason. I guess maybe it's because just this world is just so cruel and nobody's really kind anymore, that when I see it in a movie, I see somebody just going out of their way to be kind to somebody else, it kind of like touches me. So that's what makes me tear up. But off the top of my head, I'm not really sure which movies. Canadian Warrior 1995 writes, what movies would you like to see out on Blu-ray? There's way too many to name, but I'd say any movie that hasn't gotten a DVD or Blu-ray release, I would love to see on Blu-ray, and any movie that's gotten a release but in its incorrect aspect ratio, I would also love to see on Blu-ray in its correct aspect ratio, but there's just way too many to even get around the naming. Who's your favorite James Bond actor and movie? Probably Daniel Craig, and favorite movie would be Casino Royale. And the reason why I say that is because that's the movie that got me into the James Bond series. Before then, I never watched James Bond movies. I had seen bits and pieces, but I never really gotten into James Bond at all. And then my friend took me to the theaters to see Casino Royale, and I was like, wow, this was a great movie. And then I started watching, you know, the Pierce Brosnan movies, and then so forth, you know, so on and so forth. And I've seen the entire series now, and I love James Bond. So I guess, you know, if I had to give credit where credit's due, I definitely give it to Daniel Craig and Casino Royale. And what TV do you have, and would you ever buy a PS3? I have a Vizio, a 47-inch Vizio. I do not remember the actual brand name or the model number. So if you go to cinemasickness.com, look at my FAQ section, it is listed in there, but I can't think of the actual model number. It is a really nice TV, though. And would you ever buy a PS3? Maybe. If, let's say, you know, the PS4 comes out eventually, and the PS3 is pretty cheap at like a pawn shop or something like that, I would probably buy one then. Just for the fact that it, you know, I hear it's a really good Blu-ray player, and that, you know, it also has a 3D. It plays 3D Blu-rays. So would I buy one? Yeah, but not now, not for full price. You know, if it dropped down to like $100 or something like that, maybe I'd pick one up. But I don't really need one. I have no interest in one. I don't really play video games, so having one's not necessarily a need for me. Movie One Madness writes, how comes you don't keep track of what/where you buy media on your website anymore? It got really out of hand. It ended up getting to the point where it'd take me like an hour just to update my website. I would have to find a, you know, an image of the picture, the artwork. I had to write down everything, you know, again, how much, where I bought it, how much I paid for it, you know, just all the information I need to write. I had that on one page, and I had another page where I just listed all the titles individually. It just got really, really out of hand. I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't be spending an hour just typing in movies that I bought. I'm just going to make a simple page where just list the title. When I get a new title, I'll add it. Done. So that's the reason why I didn't do it. I don't do it anymore. Just, it got so out of hand. I mean, if it was easy to do, I would still do it, but spending an hour just adding new titles, I can't do that anymore. Gman1096 writes, what's the most you've ever spent on a piece? Most I've ever spent probably be, I think I spent like $100 on the complete Monty Python's Flying Circus set. Bought that back when I very first started collecting, maybe around like 2002, I think I bought that. And I would never pay $100 for that now. I would never pay that much for anything anymore, since I'm such a bargain hunter now. But back then, you know, I wasn't really concerned about bargains. I just sort of bought what I wanted. And I really wanted that. I think pretty sure I paid $100 for that. So that's probably the most I've ever paid. Lestat34208 writes, what's the first movie that got you into collecting DVDs, movies, etc.? Again, I don't really know. I just bought a bunch at one time, and from there I kind of got addicted. So it wasn't necessarily one movie, it was a whole stack of movies. The Film Critic writes, are any of your tattoos movie related? No, they're not. Why? I don't know. I would like to get one someday. I really want to get maybe like all the classic Universal horror movies, horror monsters tattooed on me someday, but maybe it'll happen someday, maybe it won't, I'm not sure. But I would like to have some, I just don't have any yet. What are you going to do when your movie room has no more space for your collection? I don't know. I'm getting close to running out of space. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. The wife and I are talking about moving sometime in the next like year or two. And if we do that, when I look for a house, one of the things I must find in a new house is somewhere to put my movies. So I will be looking for a much larger room, or maybe like a furnished basement, or like an attic, or somewhere that I can turn into my movie room. So I will be looking for a much larger room when I look for a new house. But for now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Hopefully it won't happen. If for some reason your collection disappeared, stolen, fire, etc., would you restart collecting all over again? I've actually thought about that question before, just to myself, and I don't know, because I would really miss my collection. I would really want to keep collecting, but at this point, with the size of my collection and some of the titles I have that are out of print and really hard to come by now, I don't know if I could do that, because it would be almost impossible to ever build this collection back up again. So I'm not sure what I would do. I really don't know, because like I said, I'd want to keep collecting, but I think it would literally be physically impossible to ever build my collection back to what it is now. I just don't see it ever happening. I mean, so many great deals and titles that I would now be forced to pay like full price for, or even more. I mean, some titles I have that are out of print, I'd be forced to pay ridiculous prices for. So I just don't know if I ever could get back into collecting, just for the fact that it would be so difficult to do. Star Drops writes, what's the most rare DVD VHS in your collection? Off the top of my head, definitely some of my Disney treasures. They're hard to come by. My Coffin Joe box set, that's pretty rare. I do have the 2005 series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Season 2, Volume 2. That's really hard to come by. That goes for a lot of money. And Are You Afraid of the Dark? I have the entire series of that on DVD. Those are out of print. Those go for a lot of money online. I'm sure there's more too, but off the top of my head, those are what I can think of. Who's your favorite Power Ranger? Definitely Kimberly, because she's freaking hot. And what was the first Blu-ray you bought? That would be Season 7 of Smallville. I actually got that for $6 at a Big Lots, maybe like a year or two ago. And I didn't have a Blu-ray player. I knew I wanted to get one eventually, but I didn't have any Blu-rays, didn't have a player, didn't even have HDTV. When I came across it for $6, I thought that's a really good, really good price for Season 7 of Smallville. I'm picking it up. So that was the first one I ever bought. Voice Factor writes, what's the most expensive / harder to get DVD or Blu-ray you have? Again, stuff like the Disney Treasures, Coffin Joe, Are You Afraid of the Dark series. That's probably the most rare and most expensive and hardest to get. I believe it's pronounced Mayboy2. They write, when did you first start getting your tattoos? It's probably about like 8 years ago, something like that, is when I first started getting them. Youth Pastor 28, I guess I have a youth pastor watching me. They write, what is your favorite TV show of all time? That would have to be Gilmore Girls. I know. Gilmore Girls, really? What ended up happening is I had no interest in that show at all. I dated many girls who were really into that show. I could not stand it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I forget what I was watching, something on the WB, and I used to watch it every morning before I went to work. So when I would come home from work, my TV would still be set to the WB, and I turn my TV on, get on my computer, start checking my mail, doing internet stuff, and Gilmore Girls would be playing. And before I knew it, I started to actually know the story, because they played all the episodes in continuity, so I kind of started to know what was going on with the story, and I sort of started to get interested. Then I started dating my Brittany, my now wife. I started dating her, and she was really into the series. She had them on DVD, which I actually stole her DVDs. I have the entire series now. I stole from her and put it in my collection. She had the series on DVD, and I kind of took the first series. I started watching it, really got into the storyline, and just became obsessed with the show. I don't think I've ever been that obsessed with a TV show. I literally would watch it at work, on my computer at work. I'd come home, watch some more episodes. I mean, I was just watching it back to back to back to back to back. I went like a month without watching any movies. I was just watching Gilmore Girls. I just got really into it. I've never gotten into that TV show, into a TV show as much as that, so definitely Gilmore Girls. It's actually a really good show, guys, too. Trust me, I have a lot of guy friends who were against it, and some of my guy friends, I've actually said, no, check it out, and they watched it, and they actually get into it. It's a good story. It's not as girly as some people might think. Let's see, they also write, do you play video games? No, not really. I have nothing wrong with video games. I like video games. Used to play them a lot when I was a kid. Really into like old school ones, like 8-bit, and I love the 16-bit video games, like, Genesis and Super Nintendo. Love those. But I don't really play them. Every now and then, I have some like ROMs and emulators on my computer. I'll play them every now and then if I get bored. My wife and I have a Wii, but I don't really play that very often. So sometimes I'll play video games, but I'm not really into video games. It's, I have too many movies to watch to play video games. If you were forced to get rid of your entire collection except one Blu-ray, one DVD, one VHS, one Laserdisc, which ones would you keep? I don't really know. I would definitely keep like my Young Frankenstein Blu-ray because it's my all-time favorite movie, but all in all, that would be too hard to decide. I really don't know. Orlando Blanco writes, do you like Justin Bieber? No. And do you like Chat Roulette? I have no idea what or who that is, so no. Sith Troy writes, do you ever plan to do a video based on one movie showing all the different formats, like The Wizard of Oz on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, And Laserdisc, yes, I do eventually plan on doing one of those videos. I just want to get a few more titles that I have like a decent amount of different formats of, because I don't want to just show one. I want to show maybe like a couple. So once I build up my collection a little bit more, you know, once I have, you know, like maybe like 5 or so titles that I think I have a decent amount of formats for, I will do one of those videos. So maybe like in the next year or so, you'll see one of those. And finally, the last question from Druzel2000 writes, this is a good one to end on. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? That'd be Donatello. I love Donatello. I just always thought it was cool with his bow staff. I mean, yeah, swords are neat. I always thought nunchucks were stupid. Sais are cool, but it always bugged me that Raphael uses them the wrong way. If anybody out there knows how to use sai, you know that, you know, you're not going around stabbing people with them and stuff like that. He doesn't hold them the right way, doesn't use them the right way. So that bugged me. But the idea of just a dude with a giant stick just being in the crowd of people, I thought was so cool. So when I was a kid, my brother and I would play Ninja Turtles. I was always Donatello. You know, I used to play the video games. I was always Donatello. And Donatello was always the best in the video games because he always had the longest reach. So I was just a big fan of Donatello. He was always my favorite. Still is. Big Donatello fan. So that's it for all the questions you guys asked me. Thank you guys so much for sending all these questions in. I had a fun time answering them. Really enjoyed doing this video. I'll definitely have to do another one sometime down the line. This was a lot of fun. So again, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed watching this. Hope you enjoyed all the answers I gave you. And I'll see you later. Bye.